Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Zanut here. Well, today I have a new build for you. This is a customer build. It is called Nightcrawler, and it's housed in that new Mercury S5 case. Now that case is a two-tone case. When I open it up, you'll actually get a chance to see the interior, but the interior is all black with a white motherboard tray and some PCIe filler plates that are white, and then of course you see the exterior is all white except for the power reset and USB front panel there. That is black, but you'll get to see more of that as I take you through the build. And let me take the camera off of here and let's get a close-up look at each of the pieces that we have planned to go into this build. Now, as I said, this system is going to be built into this new Case Labs Mercury S5 case. This case is two-tone, black and white. You'll see more of that as I do the build, but it does have the optional cap that allows for a push-pull configuration for your radiator in the top if you so desire. Or you can just have the fans up top and not drop down into the body of the case where it might conflict with anything that might be mounted in that top position here. But I left the side protection for the acrylic, so I'll leave that for the customer to remove unless he wants me to remove it before I ship it to him. But you'll see we've got windows up on the top side here so you can see the GPU. All of the guts on this side of the case, the motherboard and the whole 9 yards. And then in the front we have a space for a 240 rad, and in the top it has, we're going to put a 280. So let's take a look at what's going inside here. We'll start off with the power supply. It's a Cooler Master V850. It's a fully modular power supply, 80 plus gold. The brains of this operation, or the motherboard, is an MSI Z87M gaming motherboard. Has that dragon and red accents throughout it. Now we're going to put on that motherboard an i5 4670K processor, which will be overclocked. The RAM that's going to go on it is a G-Skill Sniper. It's a 1866 megahertz RAM with timings of 9, 10, 9, 28. There will be a PCIe x1 sound card that the customers provided. This is the Sound Blaster SB1500. The GPU on here is a brand new EVGA GeForce GTX 780. This is a superclocked edition, and it actually also has this awesome ACX active cooling. Now this graphics card will be water cooled, but you got to hear and see that card run. It is virtually silent and it looks sharp too, and I'll show you that before I take it apart. Storage in here in this system, we're going to have for the OS disk a 500 gigabyte Samsung 840 EVO, and then for mass storage for data we're going to have a Seagate 2 terabyte 7200 RPM drive. Now for water cooling and covering the block is a EK Supremacy Red Clean CSQ. However, we're going to modify that. We're going to remove the red and put a clear top plexi. And we think that's going to look better because of the color scheme that we're going to put in this, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Let's look now at the radiators we're going to use here. So we're going to put a 280 rad in the top. That's the AlphaCold Nexus ST30 full copper rad. And then in the front of the case we're planning to put this Nexus XT45 full copper rad, that 240. And we haven't decided which color scheme we're going to use with the fans, either red or blue. We could go with something else, but one of those two is going to look good because Nightcrawler's colors are red, white, blue, and black. So the case lends itself perfectly to the black and white, and then the motherboard's got the red, and so we're going to mix in probably the blue. And one of the things that you see here already is for the fittings, we have a combination of red fittings and some white fittings, and Also, the coolant that we're going to use is the Mayhem's Pastel Blueberry. So we have all the colors down. We just got to do them in the right mix. The pump is a D5 pump. That's actually an Alpha Cool branded D5 pump variable with a mod kit from Bits Power. The graphics block is a beautiful Bits Power VGNTX 780. Ice black acrylic top. Wait till you see that. It is so sharp. And then we also have the corresponding backplate for it as well. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to go with blueberry coolant. We have some of the Bits Power extension fittings and a bunch of white other fittings. Now, you notice here, these are multi-link adapters. That's right, because this is going to have acrylic tube in it. So we may wind up going with Primo Chill acrylic tubing or even the new EK, but I'm going to get a couple of those, and we'll take a look inside as I get ready to build it and see which one works the best. And then the customers also provided some Monsoon white right angle and 45-degree fittings as well, so we can use them. So most of this was all selected by the customer, and but all of the water cooling pieces got together and worked on to select for him. And one of the last things that I did not mention was the reservoir. That is a XSPC Photon 170 tube reservoir. That's a glass tube reservoir, and that's going to be prominently displayed in the front of the case for this build. So that's it for the intro here. Next up, we'll start taking a closer look at each of the pieces as we prepare them for installation into the case. Alright guys, so just in case you haven't seen the Case Labs Mercury S5, I thought I'd take you for just a quick little tour of this customer's one. So this is a Case Labs Mercury S5. This is for a micro ATX motherboard configuration, and he got it in a two-tone, black and white. Now, one thing that I'll point out, if you've seen my other videos, all of my Case Lab cases, I always have gotten casters for it. It's an option, but it makes it easy for me building, and also especially since I videotape most of my builds to record them and show you guys. It's a lot easier for me to maneuver them around when they're on wheels. Otherwise, I'm picking it up and moving it. Although this is a small, and these are aluminum cases, they're light enough you can actually just pick them up and move them. But anyway, and this customer just happened to order the casters as well, so the feet come with it, and the feet are aside now, but casters make it much easier to show, move you around the case. So just looking from the outside of the case, the dimensions of the S5 itself, that's about 16 inches by 12 inches by 19 inches. And the configurations allow you the options to get, I think it's either all black or all white, or even a primer gray. And then they have been offering for the last year or two mixed colors, so you can do two tones. And you can see he's got a black panel for the front I/O. The sides are all white, and you get a couple of different window options. Now you notice in the back here, he has most of the internal main base parts of the chassis as black, and then he got the white PCI slots. And then I'll take you through the inside here. So on the inside of the case, he's got the front fan slash radiator mount bay for a 240. He's got that in white, and the front panel also in white, and then the motherboard trays in white. But everything else is all matte black. So he's got, that's the two-tone color he's got, and also the top radiator fan bracket is also in black. Now I took off the window so the side panels you can get. This is the same panel. It works on either side, So you just flip it around and you got it. This is a half window that shows you the upper portion of the S5 and does not show you the bottom portion. Or you can get, as he did, you can also get a full window, and that shows you everything. And so he opted to have the full window on the side that shows you both the side with the motherboard and the graphics card, and then down here in this portion here you have your hard disk mount and your SSD mounts. So side panels pop off very easily with these clips, and Case Labs always provides you extras of all of these pieces, so if you were able, if you mangled one in some way, you can replace them. You can always buy them from them. So you see here, so side panel on this side is where he's going to have full view, so you can see everything that's going on. Take a look at the front. This front panel pops off, and on the front here you have the front I/O, which is the power button, the reset button, and they do illuminate. And then this has a USB 3.0, and this is the Flex Bay. And the Flex Bay in this particular version that he bought has spots for 220 millimeter fans, and then you can actually mount a 240 millimeter radiator behind it. So you would have the fans in here, and you can have just fans if you wanted to, but you can also then mount on the back here a radiator, and then you can mount fans to that, so you can have a full push-pull configuration. Now we have filler plates. They also offer single bays, which are, that take up a full slot, so you can get just a single fan mount if you wanted to as well. And then you can also get solid panels as well. So he got the vented panels. Now on the top of this particular case, you have a vented and also a window. Now I left the protective covering on all of these plexiglass or acrylic windows, so they don't get scratched. But this has got a view down from the top into over where the graphics card's going to be, and the rest of this is all vented because this customer opted for this thickness of a top. There's also a very thin one that goes on here, but the space that's in here allows you to mount a 240 or 280 millimeter radiator in the top, or obviously 120 or 140 millimeter fans. So now the thickness of this lid allows you the capability to either mount the radiator up top if you have a, and let's see, what is the thickness of this? So just about, so anything up to about a 35 millimeter rad would fit in there. So basically a thin rad you could fit up in the top there, or you could put the fans up there and then mount the radiator underneath here, and then if you wanted you could have another set of fans. So you could do push-pull on this top easily, and obviously having this thickness of a top gives you the flexibility to save some space under here. So if you just wanted radiator or fans and radiator, then you have much more access, because even though this is bigger than a mini ITX, it still is small, and space is a premium. So when you're installing cables and when you start putting the water cooling in, radiator and fans and reservoirs and pumps, pretty soon you run out of space. And then the one thing that you really need to look at doing when you get a mini ITX, or especially a micro ATX case, is your power supply cables, because typically when you buy them, not many manufacturers these days offer power supplies with short version of cables. So there are some that do, but not many. And if you don't pick one of those, you then really should be looking at custom making cables for this kind of a rig to keep it clean, especially if you're going to have windows in it and show it off. And that's what this customer's decided to do. Basically, let's see. Let's take a look then at the motherboard tray. You see, has a place to mount the micro ATX motherboards, and It is removable. I'm going to be taking that out and just give you a better look at from the top down. Now, if you've never used one of these flex bays or panels, these panels screw in from the front and they come through from the rear. There are studs here that you align the alignment holes with your flex bay panels, and so you slide them through, and so they're just in place, and then you use their screws to secure them. And that works the same whether it's a flex bay like this for a couple of fans or the single fans or any type. And then they also offer plates for mounting your 5 1/4 inch devices, or for your optical drive, like I said, or fan controllers. Now, for mounting devices in the front, so if you have a long device like a 5 1/4 inch optical drive, they have these brackets that allow you to mount your device to these brackets on either side, and then just as the filler panel was held in place by, there was a pin guide, there's also a pin guide on here, and then you would just put this in place on both sides, and then using the same screws that held in the filler plate, you would screw that in and hold your optical drive in. Now, if you have a device that is short, like many fan controllers, they also offer these shorter brackets to make it easier, so you don't have to waste or have this sticking into the case where it might conflict, like for example on the top with a radiator and fan. So if you have a fan controller, you can just mount those onto these shorter brackets and then install it again from the rear, and then use the screws to put them into place. And these are all standard with each of the Case Labs cases. There you get X number of them, and then you can buy variants too, some that actually have slots, multiple slots, so that depending on the device you're putting in there, if it doesn't conform to some of these places, you have some flexibility with regards to mounting them. And then, like I said, they have more than just these are the dual 120 flex bay mounts for fans or adding rads. You can get a single one, and you can get it whether it's non-mesh, flat plate, and you can also get these guys ventilated or flat as well. So that's just a quick look at the case and how this particular one has been configured. You can see on the bottom here they have the perforated mount for your power supply air to come through, and then actually there's a plate right here, and I'm not sure if the S5 has a pedestal you can buy, but the S3, which is a mini ITX one that I did a system build in recently, I went through every single option that you can have with that case and actually had the pedestal and all that. So I believe they have that for the S5. So what I'm going to do is put up the link here, and you can go ahead and go to that and see a little more detail what all the options are, because it's the exact same options that are available for that case are available for this one. The only difference is the micro ATX form factor. So this case is a little bit longer and a little bit wider than the mini ITX one, the S3. But again, they use the same basic design and features, and the radiator mounts that are available for it, we have the same type of mount designed for this in here. So you'll get a better feel for all of the options if you take a look at that video. But I just wanted to give you just a really quick, short, sweet look at this customer's S5. It's a nice job, and I'm going to go ahead and get started building. Before we go ahead and start installing everything into the case completely, one of the things that I need to do is to verify all the components are fine. Some of these components were provided by the customer. They were previously used, but the majority are new. So I'm going to throw them all together, put them on a test bench, and get them all checked out, and actually probably will load the OS onto the SSD so that we know we have all of the core components working, so that we can then proceed installing the system into the S5 without worrying about having to deal with any bad parts later on in the build. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Alright, so on the test bench we completed the checkout of the main components: power supply, SSD, motherboard, RAM, GPU, and the sound blaster. I actually have Windows 8.1 loaded on the SSD, and all of the drivers, and the drivers for the GTX 780, as well as the sound blaster SB 1500. So now that we know we have no DOAs and no problems with the hardware, next up really is to start breaking this down and mounting the water blocks on the GPU and on the CPU and get it mounted into the case. So the next video build log will be of mounting of those pieces into the case and getting ready to lay out the tubing run once we have the radiators fit in there. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked the intro and just a quick checkout of the parts for Nightcrawler. If you did, please like and favorite, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. That's it from Ron's and Not. Thanks for watching.